Thank you for joining me today. It's another perfect fall day in Savannah, but once again, we find ourselves a community of mourning. Two more young people are dead following a weekend of violence. We often refer to these incidents as fatal shootings, but that minimizes the seriousness of these crimes. They are homicides, plain and simple. In the past time, we realize that all of this has continuously happened. The details of the two latest homicide victims, Robert Brown, of which I've spoken with his grandfather, and Emmanuel Simmons, are all too familiar. Young men out on the streets in the early morning hours, both were shot on Montgomery Street, which has seen all too many shootings lately. Police are still investigating, but these criminals often pattern then Mr. Brown and Mr. Simmons like they knew the men who murdered them. They also always follow them. And what we are saying here is that unfortunately these young men died, but 9 times out of 10, they knew the person that shot them. That's the problem with Savannah today. It's a problem all of Savannah shares. But it's most pronounced in the African American community. That's where most of these homicides occurred. What we have yet are young people, young men using guns to settle beefs with each other. Sometimes it's about drugs, sometimes it's about debts, and sometimes it's about some confused notion of respect or disrespect. We have an anger problem in Savannah, people. Too many of our children believe that the quickest way to solve these problems is with a gun. You could blame guns, but I won't do that today. Guns are always too available on our streets. But I am convinced our state legislators will only act to make guns even more accessible. Complaining about guns in Georgia is like complaining about the heat in August. It does not work. You could blame police, but I will not. The reality is our police officers cannot be on every corner or in every home, on every street in our city. Our police department's clearance rate is above the national average. And what I mean is that they are solving more cases. And our police chief is well on his way to making our police department the best trained police department in the South. You could blame it on police vacancy rate, but that would not be accurate. In August, we increased the salaries for almost all of our police officers to make our pay the most competitive in the Southeast. Now, I can tell you, we said that in January at the State of the Mayor's address that we would increase salaries by July, and we did. The results have been traumatic. Our police vacancy rate has been cut in half since the city took this action. The first 3 months of 2015, we averaged about 45 applications submitted per month. In August, September, and October, we averaged 158 applications submitted per month. We're filling our ranks with some of the best recruits you've ever had. You could blame the national increase in violent crime, but I won't. Communities across America are trying to figure out why their violent crime numbers are exploding this year. And I can tell you, because I've talked to many of the mayors across this country, I maintain that Savannah's problems are our own problems, and we will solve them with a strategy that works for Savannah. There is no set strategy that operates nationally. Chief Lumpkin is investing a new technology and new training and changing the ways our beats are patrolled. Our End Gun Violence initiative will target those most likely to pull a trigger. These will make a difference, but they will not by themselves solve our violent crime problems. The reality is, this problem is much deeper and complex than these answers. We've got an anger problem in Savannah. We have joblessness in Savannah. Too many young people are being raised to believe that a gun is the easiest way to solve all their problems. We're depending on our parents, our clergy, and our leaders to talk it up and talk about the value of life. They're doing this, and we commend them for doing it. I can tell you, I was at some churches on Sunday, and the ministers are talking about values within the home. They're teaching our young people about the consequences of their action. Pulling a drive-by because of some stupid disrespect does not make you a man. It makes you a coward, and it will ruin your life. Police have solved close to 60% of homicides in Savannah this year. These criminals will spend most of their lives in prison. When they get out, if they get out, they will have no family, no job. They will be branded a convicted felon until the day they die. Only then will they truly understand the meaning of the word respect. Every life matters in this community, across this nation, and around the world. Every life matters. It's as simple as that. But until Savannah develops a culture that embraces this idea, nothing will change. That is why we want Savannah to be a part of the solution. And our young people, if we don't, will keep dying in our streets. Being the mayor of Savannah means I take responsibility for what's happening in my community. I accept that, but I maintain that nothing will change until we rise up and take back control together. I asked 2 years ago for people to join us. Today, I'm asking our citizens again in Savannah to join us and embrace our young people. Tell them when they are wrong. Get them to understand that their lives matter. Let them know that you want to help them. So what I want to say to you is thank you, Savannah, for all that you are doing now. And may God continue to bless all of Savannah. At this time, I'll take any questions that you might have.
Do you feel like the city's become too dangerous for visitors?
No, I do not. I think that Savannah, if you look at where the crimes are being committed, unfortunately, I have to say that they're being committed in our predominantly black areas. And we in those areas, as I live in, have to also reach out to our young people to let them know. When you talk to people here in Savannah that are tourists, and I do a lot of it, and I give you a good example. At the Rock and Roll Marathon, I had the pleasure of just walking around and talking to people. And one of my questions that I asked each of them most of the time was, do you feel safe? They said yes. I asked them, have you ever heard that Savannah is going through the crime problems, the shootings that we have? Most said, we have them in our community too. So we try to protect everybody, whether they are a tourist or whether they are a visitor, a business person, or anyone that is in this community, because we want Savannah to be a safe community.
Mayor, you got a big runoff coming up, and I think the big issue in these elections was crime. That was the overbearing issue for every single seat. So you're going to be running against election. I would say we can't have more of the same. So I know you're calling for the citizens to come together, but you know the city has been doing things. But what is the city doing? What are you going to do if you are reelected? When people, you know, because we have 2 kids dying. So what is going to change? What are you guys doing proactively so it's not more of the same?
Well, and I don't want this to become a campaign press conference, but I will answer your question. What we are doing is making every financial proposal. We're fulfilling every financial proposal that our chief of police has requested. But I do have a new idea, and I got this from off of the campaign trail. You see, Savannah has a AA+ rating. We've saved this community over $8 million in our old bonds. But what I am going to propose to the new council is that we go ahead, do the bonding of any equipment that they may need, cars, different kinds of new equipment that is owned, that is out, and I saw some in Nashville, and also to speed the projects that we have not completed. And why? Because we can do it at a 2% rating. And why is that? It is because this city is in good financial standings, and I'm proud of that.
When do you expect the first calling from end gun violence program?
In talking with the chief, they're about to hire the manager, the director, and as soon as that person takes office and his or her feet are on the ground, then a public announcement will be made to the community. Shouldn't be no more than, I would say, less than a month.
Yeah, there was a drive-by and 2 other shootings, really all in a very similar area. How come when there are so many incidents going on in the same neighborhoods, there aren't more patrols?
There are more patrols, but you know, you're absolutely right. But there are more patrols. Not only that, we have partnerships with the GBI, the FBI, and all of the federal agencies that have partnered, that is writing and doing everything that they can with our police department. But you know, criminals watch too, and they know where to go and where not to go. They know where they can find a police officer or not find one. But we're doing the best they can. What needs to be done, those people that are, and I hate that phrase, the people that are living in the area, when they see it, they need to report it. And that is what is not happening. Let me give you a good example of what happened. If you just recall, there was a young man that was firing some shots. Just recently, our police department was following him. He jumped out of the car. Well, guess what? He is now in jail, and he was a felon. That is what I'm talking about, that our police department is doing.
You mentioned financially how well the city is doing. How come you see so much greatness financially, but those neighborhoods you talk about that see that crime, they see upwards to more than 1 in 3 people under poverty?
Well, that has been a standard, and that is not just here in Savannah. That is a standard across the nation. And what we have been doing and will continue to do is to work with companies that are coming into Savannah and ask them to hire local. Part of the problem is that we have talked to some of the young people. You have people that doesn't want to hire people that have served their time in prison. And we have to do a better job of, instead of them coming to the company, of taking the company to the people. I've been out in West Savannah. I know what the young people are saying out there. I've been in other areas. And what one young man told me, he said, Miss Jackson, I have been down to the Department of Labor. When they look at my resume, I qualify for a lot of positions, but because I was caught with a gun, nobody will hire me. He said, and I have to take care of my family. So we have to take chances on our young people as well.
I know you used to meet a lot with victims' families, and you met with one, I guess, earlier today or yesterday.
No. This was the Brown case.
Oh, okay.
I met with the grandfather.
When you speak with victims' families, what are you hearing from them? I mean, as far as what do you tell them? What are you hearing from them?
What I tell the families are we're not closing cases. The cases will remain open until we apprehend the person that committed the crime. You know, I had a couple to come in, I can't remember the name. Their son was killed down in City Market. It stemmed from a case back in December of 12-13. Their son was cleared, it was of shooting the young man that he did because the young man drew a gun on him. But this young man had been looking for him all of this time. That is the anger that I'm talking about. You took a life from us, now we're going to take your life. So how do you deal with that? That is something, that's a lot of counseling that you have to do with our young people. And the family are still grieving because they lost their son. But you know, the horrible thing about it is you have two families grieving. How do you handle that? I don't have the magic question. I don't have the magic answer. The only thing that we can do is that make sure that our police department are continuously trying to settle those cases that are unsolved.
Everyone knows that violence is a problem in the city. I'm just curious, what is your purpose today in holding this?
Because I'm tired, and I'm out there trying to do everything that I can, working with our chief, our police officers, working with our staff. And if I don't tell my story, then people that are telling the lies out there, people will understand them and not understand what I've been doing. And so this is about all of the young people. I have a son. I have a son that I gave birth to, but I have other children as well. I don't know how to take the death of a child, but I can imagine I will be angry. I would want everybody to do something instantly, yesterday. And we want these families to know that we have not given up. Once I was making repeated calls for people to get involved. But the press was saying, well, what else are you going to do? So now, this is what I'm going to do. And I want people to know the truth, that the anger just not reach from the parents, but it reached from us, the mayor and the aldermen and the employees and the police department in this community. The anger reaches this entire community. Are there other questions? Is that it?
That's it, thank you.
You're so welcome.